Every light in these paintings feels left on by someone who never came back. A house glows in the dark, a canal holds the reflection of broken windows. A park waits under lamps that make the empty path feel even emptier. William de Gouve-Dinant kept painting places that looked cared for, lived in. Then he made one brutal decision. He removed the people. This painting's called The Blind House. He made it in 1892. That title changes the painting. The Blind House is not just an empty house. It is a house that looks back and gives you nothing. The lamps are lit, the curtains are drawn. Your eyes keep waiting for someone to move behind the glass. Nobody does. Did he paint silence after something had happened or before something was about to? Whatever he was painting, he painted as if it was the silence that was watching you back. At the end of the 19th century, modern life was getting louder. Paintings were chasing it. The streets, cafes, crowds and railway stations. Impressionists catching the city as it moved. De Gouve-Dinant walked the other way. He turned instead to Belgian symbolism, a world of dreams and dread and private visions. These painters wanted the thing underneath ordinary life. That is what he reached for. White peacocks in a wood at dusk, their tails spread against trees that lean the wrong way, under a sky that does not match the ground. The light comes from nowhere you can place. A single black swan on water so still it could be glass. The trees behind it stand doubled in the surface, dark on dark, and the bird drifts through them as though the whole pond were holding its breath. And a garden at night where angels move along the paths, half folded into the dark edges, as if the night itself had quietly opened and let them in. One of symbolism's coldest figures was Fernand Knopf, who painted locked rooms and women who seem to know something you're not allowed to know. De Gouve-Dinant moved in that same circle, and then went somewhere stranger than any of them. The other symbolists used the human figure to carry the dream. He let the emptiness do it instead. Once you've seen it, you cannot stop seeing it. A house and a garden and the last of the light, the flowers still standing in their beds. Everything is tended, everything is in its place, and there is not a single soul in the frame to have tended it. A long, dark building on a canal at night, every window smashed, nobody in the water, nobody in the bank. A row of bare trees cut straight across the front of it. A single boat sits tied up at the edge, going nowhere. An empty staircase, lit from somewhere you cannot see, a door standing open at the bottom. Someone has just gone up the stairs, or is just about to come down. Except, nobody does. A park at night, the lamps lit between the trees, the path raked and waiting, and nobody walking it. Every time, your eye does the same thing. It hunts for the person. The whole history of painting has trained you to expect one, and he refuses to give you one. So you supply it yourself. You become the missing person. You are the one in the empty path, under the lit window, wondering where everybody went. He did not paint loneliness as a subject. He built a place and left a space in it, exactly your size. Then the dark comes down properly, and something in the work changes. These are the nocturnes, night paintings, and they are what he is remembered for. A whole town gone blue under a mountain, the rooftops silver with starlight, lit windows scattered through it like embers that have not quite gone out. Historic Flemish buildings rise from a dark, silent canal, their few glowing windows trembling in the murky water below. The dark does the work now, a few lit windows and all that blankness, but you already know there is nobody behind them. Earlier in his career, he had already painted darkness as something physical, a stand of black trees at dusk. Around 1910, after a severe spiritual crisis, the work changed. The dreams thinned out, the strangeness faded, and what was left felt quieter, plainer, and more melancholy. The magic had gone out of the world, and he painted it the way it felt, empty, ordinary, and a little sad. This is where he stops looking like a painter borrowing the mood of his time and starts looking like himself. Whatever label you reach for, the thing he kept returning to was the same. Places that looked occupied and empty at the same time. His landscapes were not just landscapes. Years later, Magritte would make it impossible houses and wrong skies famous. The Gouve de Nantes had already found a quieter version of that feeling. And then the real absence entered his life. For most of his life, he had not been painting emptiness alone. He had married a fellow painter, Juliette Masson, in 1894. She travelled with him, painted alongside him, built a life around the same strange, quiet pictures. While his canvases filled with empty rooms and unlit doorways, she was the one who was always there. In 1919, Juliette died, and the man who had spent his career painting empty rooms found himself inside one. He was overwhelmed by it. After Juliette's death, he lost the use of one of his hands. For years, the work was broken. But that is not quite where it ends. More than 10 years later, he moved to the Belgian town of Stavelot with his second wife, Suzanne, the woman who had helped him through the worst of it. They settled quietly. Despite the hand he could no longer use, he adapted his technique and began to paint once more. Snow mostly, white fields, bare trees, a farm under a low moon, cold light over everything. He died there in 1935. So look again at where we started. The house with the lights on, the windows burning for no one, that small far window glowing in the dark. All through this film, these paintings have been pulling you into that silence. You wait at the glass, you expect someone to appear, and the absence settles in long before you know whose it is. By the end of his life, the Gouve de Nantes knew that silence in a different way. Juliette was gone. His work was broken for years, and when he returned, the empty places were still there, only now they were not just imagined. The lights are still on, and still nobody has come home. One name kept surfacing in this story, Fernand Knuth, the colder Belgian, the painter who locked the world out and turned the same face over and over until it stopped looking human. And one face kept returning in his work again and again. His sister.